Hello students, today we are going to study functions of commercial banks. Functions of commercial banks can be asked for 16 marks. So first you will write meaning of commercial bank, then you will write definition of a banker. You can write any one definition, then you will write primary functions and then you will write secondary functions. Okay, if it is asked for 16 marks. Or primary functions can be asked. Primary functions of commercial banks can be asked for 8 marks, and secondary functions of commercial bank can be asked for 8 marks. In both the cases, you have to write meaning of commercial bank and definition of a banker. Okay. Now, what is a commercial bank? Commercial bank are those banks which performs all kinds of banking functions such as accepting deposits, advancing loans, and credit creation and agency services. Okay. Let us see the primary functions of commercial bank. Primary functions of commercial banks are accepting deposits, lending or advancing, investment of funds, creation of money. The commercial banks accept 3 types of deposits from the public. First one is current account deposits, form the most important type of bank accounts. They are generally opened by the businessmen, industrialists, etc. They are opened by the customers neither for the purpose of earning interest nor for the purpose of savings, but for the convenience of making payments by checks. Such accounts are active accounts which are continuously in operation. In current accounts, customers can deposit any amount of money and any number of time. Similarly, they can withdraw from the current accounts any amount and as many times as they want, as long as they have funds to their credit. Current account deposits are repayable on demand. It is for the reason they are also called demand deposits. Generally, the bank grants no interest on this account because it has to keep the cash ready at all times to meet the requirements of the depositors. The banks, however, levies certain incidental charges on the customers for the services rendered by it. Savings bank account. Okay. Saving bank accounts. Saving bank accounts are generally opened by middle and lower income groups who wish to save a part of their current income for their future needs and earn some return on their deposits. In these accounts, customers can deposit any amount of money and any number of times. But as these accounts are intended to promote the habit of saving among the depositors, there are restrictions on number as well as the amount of withdrawal from these accounts. Fixed deposits. Fixed deposit accounts are opened by the small investors who do not want to invest their money in risky investment opportunities like industrial securities, but wish to deposit their money in banks and earn good and steady income. In the fixed deposit account, fixed amounts are deposited by the customers for fixed period at fixed rate of interest. The money so deposited cannot be withdrawn before the expiry of the fixed period. The rate of interest on this account is higher than that on other accounts. Lending. I'm so sorry. Okay. Lending or advancing. One of the primary function of commercial bank is to advance loans to its customers after keeping certain cash reserves. The balance is given by the banks to the needy borrowers in the form of loans and advances. The various forms of loans and advances are loans, overdraft, cash credit, discounting bills. Loans. A loan is a financial arrangement under which an advance is granted by a bank to a borrower on a separate account called the loan account. When the loan is sanctioned to a borrower, the entire amount of a loan is debited to the loan account of the borrower and is paid to the borrower at once in a lump sum, either cash or by transfer to the savings or current account of the customers. A loan is generally granted for a short period. In case of a loan, interest is charged on whole amount of the loan sanctioned. A loan is granted either against collateral securities or against the personal security of the borrower. Overdraft. Sometimes the bank grants overdraft facilities to its respectable and reliable customers. The bank allows such customers to overdraw their current account or saving account. By nature, an overdraft is a temporary financial accommodation to be made use of by the customers occasionally. An overdraft is granted either against collateral security or against personal security to the borrower. In case of overdraft, interest is charged quarterly or half yearly and is calculated on the daily debit balances for the actual period of utilization. Cash credit. Under cash credit arrangement, a borrower is allowed an advance under a separate account called cash credit account. In the case of cash credit, the borrower can withdraw the amount in installments as and when he needs money. Further, he can put back any surplus amount which he has into his account. Thus, a cash credit account is like a running account from which money can be withdrawn and into which money can be deposited by the borrower frequently. A cash credit is usually a mere permanent financial arrangement than an overdraft. Discounting bills. This is another type of lending which is very popular with the modern banks. If a holder of a bill of exchange wants money immediately, the bank provides him the money by discounting the bill of exchange. After deducting its commission, the bank pays the present value of the bill to the holder. When the bill matures, the bank can secure its payment from the acceptor of the bill. Investment of funds. Besides loans and advances, a modern bank also invests a part of its surplus funds in government and other industrial securities. Creation of money. Credit creation is one of the most important functions of commercial banks. Money is said to be created when the banks, through their lending activities, make a net addition to the total supply of money in the economy. Now, let us see the secondary functions. There are two types of secondary functions, or I can say like that. Secondary services of bank may be studied under two heads: agency services and general utility or miscellaneous services. The important agency services rendered by the banker are as follows. First one, collection of funds. A banker undertakes to collect money on behalf of its customers. He collects crossed and uncrossed checks, and the bank drafts on behalf of the customers and credit the proceeds in their accounts. He collects bills of exchange, promissory notes, interest, and dividend and credits to the customers' accounts. He also collects salaries of his customers from their employers. Collection and payment of pension. The banks collects the pension of retired employees from their employers and the credit the same to the concerned employees' accounts. Making payments. A banker also undertakes to pay the bills of exchange and promissory notes on behalf of the customers and debits the customers' accounts with the payments. Purchase and sale of securities. The banker undertakes to buy and sell securities on behalf of the customers. The banker arranges for the purchase and sale of securities through stockbrokers. Advising customers regarding stock exchange investments. A banker advises his customers regarding investments on stock exchange securities when his advice is sought by the customers. He collects information on various stock exchange securities and advises the customers on the basis of the information collected. Transfer of funds. A banker arranges for remittance of funds from one place to another on behalf of their customers by means of bank drafts, mail transfers, and other electronic modes. These modes are cheaper, safer, and more convenient. Acting as a trustee, administrator, executor, or attorney. A trustee is a person who is entrusted with some property by the author of the trust for the benefit of another person called the beneficiary. A modern bank serves as a trustee of its customers. As a trustee, the banker is required first to ascertain the full details of the trust property. Then he should administer the trust property strictly in accordance with the terms of the trust deed. An executor is a person appointed by a testator by a will to execute his will. When no will is prepared, or when no executor is named in the will, or executor named is not available or willing to act as such, the court appoints a person called executor by a letter of administration to wound up the property of the deceased. As a banker has officials who have experience in the winding up of the estate of the deceased, he is appointed as an executor. An attorney is a person appointed by another person by a power of attorney to act on his behalf. Often a banker is appointed as attorney of his customer. A banker serves as correspondent and representative of his customers. Let us see other services of the bank. Safe custody of valuables. As a banker has adequate security arrangement like strong room, safe deposit vaults or lockers, he accepts precious possession like jewelry, title deeds of property, insurance policies, shares, government securities, etc. for safe custody. Dealing in foreign trade. Today, commercial banks offer a number of services in respect of foreign trade. Banks grant export finance to exporters. They also help the importers to import goods on credit by granting them commercial letter of credit. Bank collect trade information about foreign markets and pass on such information to importers and exporters. Issue of traveler's check. Traveler's letter of credit and circular notes. A banker issues traveler's checks, traveler's letter of credit and circular notes to the travelers and tourists. These instruments enable the tourists to get money in the places which they visit. These instruments reduce the risk of carrying actual currency with them. These instruments are convenient and safe means of getting funds during visits to other places. Acting as a referee. If a banker is appointed as a referee by a customer, the banker will answer all trade inquiries made about his customer by other businessmen. By acting as a referee, the banker enables his customer to enter into business relations with other businessmen. Collecting information about other customers. A banker often collects information about other customers or businessmen through their fellow bankers and supplies that information to his customers. The information supplied by the banker will enable the customer to avoid risks in his dealings. Collection of information. Every modern bank collects data about banking, agriculture, commerce, foreign trade, etc., and publishes the same in its periodicals. This information is of immense use to the businessmen in particular and the public in general. Thank you very much, students. Have a great day.